A new book out this fall shows religious hostility rising rapidly in the U.S.
What the researchers for Undeniable are finding is that discrimination against religious liberty is rising almost every year in America.
Jeff Mateer helps lawyers and researchers who compile the cases profiled in Undeniable.
The first time we did it, we collected about 600. We went from 600 to 1,200, and this year we're up to around 1,600. So, I mean, the threats are continuing to increase at a dramatic pace.
Often these take place in school settings.
We've got a student right now at a school in Baltimore for radiological nursing who was denied access to the school. And the school put this in writing because he said that God was the most important thing in his life.
Sometimes it's the federal government attacking, like in the lobby-obamacare case and many others. In May, the state of Georgia fired public health official Dr. Eric Walsh shortly after hiring him because someone heard sermons he'd given in his spare time.
Issues around creation, sexual purity, doctrinal issues, I mean, different things.
A number of articles points to gay activists angry over comments Walsh made, like these in 2006, about the sexual sinners of Sodom and Gomorrah.
And going after strange flesh, which if you carry the analogies all the way out, would mean homosexuality. The Bible says that when they did this, God caused them to suffer the vengeance of eternal fire.
Georgia officials asked for copies of Walsh's sermons.
So he politely sent them copies of the sermons themselves. They reviewed them, and the very next day they fired him.
Walsh says he's still in shock.
Kind of blown away at the idea that in the United States, you could be a lay pastor and on the weekend, deliver messages to congregations, and that could be used against you when you apply for a job or when you're offered a job.
That's not religious liberty in this country. At the very minimum, I expect that religious liberty means that we can find sanctuary in our own sanctuary.
Sometimes fighting back can take years, like an ACLJ case that began in 2007.
A college professor at UNC Wilmington, he fought until this year because he was denied promotion. He became a Christian. He started out as an atheist and a liberal professor, became a Christian during his years at the college and got denied promotion. He ultimately won in court.
Sometimes you have to be willing, like Pastor Telsa DeBerry and his congregation, to take on your own town. That happened after a Holly Springs, Mississippi city ordinance was used to stop them from forming a downtown church.
And it says that churches, in order to be in an area of the town, have to gain 60% approval of the landowners in the area, and they have to get the mayor's approval.
I thought it was ludicrous. Frankly, I thought it was absurd.
So on its face, it violates federal law that says you can't discriminate against churches for being a church.
I felt it was an injustice. I felt that not only I as a pastor, but all Christians and for that matter, all religious institutions would be segregated and alienated from society by this ordinance and would be relegated to second or third rung citizens.
They lost their fight with the city and then in district court.
But they want to get across this message. If people will fight back, they will almost always win.
DeBerry on appeal scored a huge victory when the Fifth Circuit Court in New Orleans blasted the anti-church ordinance.
It literally is going to impact thousands of churches across this country when they're faced with discrimination.
Sekulow says these cases are often solved with just a call or a letter.
But there's also times when you got to be willing to fight in court. If you're going to threaten the potential legal action, you have to back that up. Now, we're there for people so that they don't have to worry about paying attorneys, but you do have to go through the process.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.